Okay, what's up, everybody? I just wanted to kind of do a brief tutorial or walkthrough of how I got from the sketch that I did of the skull to the actual vectorizing of the skull and being able to change it to different colors and things like that. So, I'm not going to actually redesign it from scratch all the way over again, but I've got everything pretty much broken down into individual layers. Some of them are named, some of them aren't. I kind of got busy and just on a roll and didn't really go back and name all the layers, but I'm just going to kind of break it down pretty quick on how I did it. And the primary tool that I used, again, which is my favorite tool, is the pen tool. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. All right, I'm going to bring this off to the side, lock that. So um, let's do 71 for our zoom in. There's pretty good. Okay, so what I did was I pretty much started with an outline. Find my outline layer here. Yeah, let's start with that. Okay, I pretty much started with an outline, and I'll take my to select same fill color. Of the pen tool, and you can see here that this has been expanded into a shape. But what I did was I pretty much just took my pen tool, and I'll just do a really quick one here, and just started to do an outline trace of the skull. And I wasn't really worried about it being dead on accurate, but I was pretty much doing the outside areas of the skull. And I pretty much continued that all the way around with the path tool. And then once I did that, I came back in, copy and pasted that pen tool shape. And let me just close this off. Let's do this. Selected it, swapped it, and I copy and pasted that same pen tool path and then made it a solid shape. And I labeled that as my base. And what I'll do is I'll come back in and then I'll bring in that same base, but it's not as wide, and I'll call that my main color to start with. And then on top of that, I have my top outline. Okay, so I've got my base color, the gray, my very far back base color that's expanded to look like a stroke, which is the black. And then I've got um, 4 colors that I try to stay within. So if you look at the completed product here, you've got your base color gray, your darker gray, and your highlights, like a white. So I'll label some of those as like a sub layer. So here I've got sub layer 2, which are some of my lighter grays. Then I've got some of my darker grays. And you could call it sub layer 2, sub layer 3, sub layer 4, dark grays, light tones, mid tones. You can call it whatever you want. You know, it's your artwork. And then I've got some of my highlights, pretty much. If you can compare the two. And then I've done in a few select areas, like right around in here, some darker darks to show a little bit of depth. And then I've got the larger darks for my eyes and nose, which add more depth to it. And then what I like to do to make it more of an illustration and give it a little bit more, I guess, character, if you will, is incorporate some cross hatching. And the way I do my cross hatching is I pretty much just take the pen tool, draw a straight line, give it a little bit of a curve, close off that anchor, come in, and then give it a little bit more of a curve. And I'm just going to do a copy, Control C, Control V, like that. Control C, Control V, like that. Control C, Control V. And if you want to make these a little bit smaller to kind of give it make it look more like a true shading feature, you can do that. And then I'll just come in and, wherever I see fit, just kind of add that in there throughout to, give it a little bit more character. So let's delete that. And I've got that labeled as my crosshatch. And then I'll even come in and do a little bit of that. Let's see here. Kind of in the eyes, I'll give it a little bit more depth. Let's see what layer that was. So you might call this, eye detail. Zoom out. And that just kind of makes it pop just a little bit more. And I've even got some of that showing up in the nose here. And then I added some of the crosshatch feature in the eye. So if you look at this really close, you'll see as I'm turning the layer on and off, that's just another crosshatch technique that I took up here, changed the direction of it, reduce different sizes, just with scaling it down. And it kind of looks like a form of shading or crosshatching, if you will, but it's all vector. And then I prefer to do these in two separate pieces. I did the top of the skull in case people just want the top, and then I came back and did the entire bottom part as a separate graphic. So I'll just go through that really quick. Got my base, or my rear base color. Start adding the teeth. And these are all on separate layers until I'm ready to merge them and bring them onto one. And I start adding in my secondary color, I've got a little bit of darker color in there. Got my highlights. Again, all done with the pen tool. Highlights on the teeth. Shadows on the teeth. And those were my highlights on the teeth up top. And this probably took me a couple of hours just working on it off and on, taking breaks here and there. But I was happy with how it turned out. I've already had a couple of people download it from my website. And, I appreciate the support. Feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram. And if you'd like to actually download the graphic, it's at graphics2grab.com. And just in the search bar, search for the skull vector and it should pop up. And if you have any issues, questions, or concerns about getting it in a different file format, email me and I will try to respond as quick as I can to help you out. Again, thanks for taking the time and have a good one. Bye.